This is Tennis Pete here with the second video in instruction on tennis home bases. In the first video we looked at the principle of how to find your recovery position, how to find your home base. And if you remember, we looked at the two widest shots that your opponent could hit. And if you're player number 1 in blue and your opponent's about to hit the ball and the ball is number 3, then they could hit down the line, they could hit cross court, and your job, in order to get a really good recovery position, is to find a home base that's in the middle of their two widest shots. So if you're at the back of the court, you shift across to the opposite side that they've hit the ball, and if you want to come into the net, you shift across to the same side that they've hit the ball. And that's the easy way to remember it. So now in this video, what I wanted to look at is how to think your way around the court with court positioning as a priority, so that you almost never leave any gaps. And the easy way to look at this is just before you're about to hit a ball, you ask yourself two questions. And question number 1 is, where's my nearest home base? So what I'm going to do is just quickly put an X for the home base here that we're looking at, and also I'll put an X on the baseline for the baseline home base. A little bit behind the baseline. And there we are, there's the X for the volley home base. And just moving the ball now to a different position. So imagine that your opponent has hit the ball and they've decided to hit cross court, and the ball's bounced around about here, middle of the back of the court, and it's moved now off the court, and there you are, you've managed to get close to the ball, you're about to hit it, and the question is, where do I move to in order to easily leave no gaps for my opponent? Now, of course, what a lot of players do that don't realize the geometry of the court is that they'll see this gap on this side of the court here, and they'll aim straight down here and leave a gap actually for their opponent to win the point, because they'll only maybe make it this far across to cover the shots, and then their opponent can easily hit that gap and win the point. So that's a very common error that you see. And this simple way of thinking about which home base do I go to and what questions do I ask myself before I hit the ball so that I get in a good position, it's really, really easy to remember. The first question you ask yourself is, this is just before you hit the ball, where is my nearest home base? It's as simple as that. So your nearest home base, if you're here, is this one that we've marked on the baseline. It's only really a few steps away. So the next question is, okay, that's my nearest home base, but where have I got to hit the ball so that this home base works? So that's your second question that you ask yourself. And looking at the goalposts that we already have drawn here, the answer to that question becomes obvious. So the place to hit the ball so that you can recover easily to the nearest home base is back cross court. So you hit back here, cross court, and then just after you've hit the ball, you know exactly where you're going to move. And because it's this side of the court, it's easier to get to. It's much less distance to have everything covered and ready for the next shot. So this gives an explanation for the reason that you see at the pro level so many rallies that are predominantly cross-court, because cross-court is the safety shot in terms of court positioning. So now if we use that same thinking when you get a chance to come into the net. So imagine you're in a rally here and your opponents hit a short ball and the ball's bounced and then landed and hopped up a little bit, so it's on the service line, and there you are, about to hit the ball from this position here. So now remember the two questions to ask yourself. The first question, where's my nearest home base? And this one here now comes into operation because it's only a few steps away. So this is going to be the easiest option for you in terms of not leaving any gaps for your opponent and easily getting to the recovery position. So that's the first question answered. Where's my nearest home base? The next question, where have I got to hit the ball so that that home base works? And again, the lines that we've already drawn give us the answer. So you've got to hit down the line so that this home base makes sense, and then you have everything covered. So that covers the principle of how to think your way around the tennis court in terms of easily getting to a good recovery position, not leaving any gaps ever for your opponent, and making simple decisions about where to hit the ball. So thank you for watching, and in the third video we'll go over some examples of how this works on the full court and typical rally patterns that will give you more of an idea of how to really make this work for you.